In this unit on human culture, we're focusing on how language and everyday practices reflect deeper cultural values. First, let's look at some vocabulary in action. For example, the annual report has led to acute embarrassment for the government, and Ellen's teetering on high heels shows how language captures small but vivid details. Then, when we mention the outskirts of the city, we see how physical places link to emotional shifts, like Ella's mood lightening. Moving on to the comprehension section, the key point is how the author portrays the Japanese waste management system as remarkably organized and systematic. Waste is carefully sorted and collected at set times, which highlights a cultural emphasis on order and cleanliness. Finally, understanding the reasons behind the unique category of bulky waste, or Sodaigomi, reveals deeper cultural habits. Because Japanese homes are typically small and lack extra storage spaces, items must be regularly discarded to make room for new ones. Plus, the cultural preference for freshness means people avoid second-hand goods, underscoring a value placed on purity and neatness. This slide really shows how language and culture are intertwined in everyday life. According to the author, the Japanese generally feel uncomfortable and embarrassed when it comes to buying second-hand items. They prefer new and fresh goods because used items are often seen as contaminated by other people's hands. In contrast, Malaysian culture is quite different. Malaysians tend to reuse, sell, or give away unwanted goods instead of throwing them away, including used household items and half-used products. The author felt awkward at the Sodaigomi pile because, being new to Japan, he wasn't used to taking useful things from garbage, and his family worried about being seen by their neighbors. He brought home several articles from the pile, like a plastic lawn chair, a Japanese tea table, a bicycle bell, a wooden cupboard, a set of wrenches and screwdrivers, a bar stool, a lacquer serving tray, and even a black and white television. Most people prefer to search the trash piles in the dead of the night to avoid embarrassment and prevent neighbors from seeing them. Over time, the author's family adapted to this culture, realized it was a cycle of giving and receiving. For example, when they got new items, they returned the old ones to the Sodaigomi pile, fully embracing the Japanese way of using consumer goods. Let's dive into some grammar practice, focusing on making comparisons and rewriting sentences. First, in Section B, we complete sentences using comparative forms. Notice how we often add words like much, far, or a bit to intensify the comparison. For example, we say much bigger instead of just bigger, or far more exciting instead of simply more exciting. These phrases add emphasis and make our statements clearer. Also, pay attention to adverbs like more slowly or more neatly, which modify verbs to describe actions in comparative terms. Moving to Section C, we rewrite sentences to express the same meaning in different ways. For instance, Kabir is less intelligent than he pretends becomes he is not as intelligent as he pretends. This form uses not as to show comparison without the comparative adjective. Similarly, saying Bikram has lived in Kathmandu twice as long as Hari is a concise way to compare durations. Another key point is turning negative comparisons into positive superlatives, like changing "there's no other mountain higher than MT Everest" into "MT Everest is the highest mountain in the world." These transformations help us express ideas more naturally and flexibly in English. Overall, mastering these comparative structures and sentence rewrites will boost your ability to communicate comparisons clearly and effectively.